You are here, and that is already a miracle. The room around you may be quiet, or perhaps filled with the faint hum of life, but tonight, or whenever you press play, you and I are stepping together into a place where the boundaries of what is real soften. I will walk beside you, not as a teacher with answers, but as a companion with questions. This is a story about the quantum world, those strange and shimmering realities that hide beneath the skin of our universe. It is a world both delicate and vast, where particles dance like whispers and probabilities bloom like constellations across an invisible sky. And though physics can feel like numbers, equations, and the heavy silence of chalk on a blackboard, I promise you something else. Here, in this space, it will feel like poetry. It will feel like stepping barefoot into starlight, where every particle is both a secret and a song. The quantum is not cold. It is not mechanical. It is intimate. It is the heartbeat beneath your own heartbeat, the way your atoms remember the fire of stars, the way uncertainty is stitched into the fabric of love and time and memory. So let us begin gently, with kindness, with care. Take a breath, a long, slow one, letting your chest rise, letting it fall. And know that even the air entering your lungs is a quantum dance of molecules, colliding, sharing energy, living the rules of the very mysteries we are about to explore. This journey is not about solving every puzzle. It is about resting in wonder, learning to love the questions as much as the answers, and discovering that reality itself is stranger, kinder, and more mysterious than we could have ever dreamed. Now, with your heart softened and your curiosity awake, let us step into the first doorway together. In the beginning of our story, there was light, not the light of lamps or stars, but the primal flicker that revealed a secret. Sometimes it behaved as a wave, rippling like water across a shore, and sometimes as a particle, leaping like a solitary spark in the dark. This paradox was not a mistake. It was an invitation. Nature was whispering to us, I am not bound by the names you give me. I am more. Imagine a beam of light passing through two slits cut into a screen. If it were only a stream of particles, we would see two neat bands, like arrows flying true. If it were only a wave, we would see bright and dark stripes, interference patterns painting a delicate rhythm. But when we look closer, when we allow single photons, single quanta of light to travel, we see something stranger. Each one arrives as a particle, but together they write a wave's song. This is the beginning of quantum mechanics, the realization that reality can carry two truths at once. Not either or, but both and. Not contradiction, but complexity. And as you breathe here, remember, you too are woven from this paradox. Inside you, atoms obey these same rules. Your very body is born from quantum uncertainty, from electrons that choose not one orbit but many until they collapse into the shape of you. You are the experiment. You are the answer written in waves and particles. At the turn of the 20th century, the world of physics was at a crossroads. The air buzzed with certainty. Newton's laws reigned like scripture. Maxwell's equations had stitched light and magnetism into one seamless fabric, and the clockwork vision of the universe seemed complete. Yet beneath that clockwork ticked an unease, a dissonance humming faintly, like a violin string stretched too tight. The trouble was light. For centuries, physicists had studied radiation, the glow of heated objects, the furnace light of stars, the embers of fire. Classical physics said that if you heated a black surface, a black body, it should shine brighter and brighter as its temperature rose, and at higher frequencies, it should radiate endlessly, spilling infinite energy into the world. But this prediction was absurd. It would mean the universe itself would collapse into blinding white, an unbearable flood of energy. The equations did not match what experiment revealed. The laboratory whispered one truth, and the mathematics shouted another. Enter Max Planck, a quiet, methodical man, not seeking revolution, but reconciliation. He stared at the stubborn mismatch and decided to bend the rules, just slightly. What if, he thought, energy is not smooth and continuous, like water flowing from a jug, but instead comes in quanta, tiny, indivisible packets, like coins instead of a stream, each packet tied to frequency, each step discrete, each glow not infinite, but measured. Planck wrote it down. Energy, he said, is proportional to frequency, multiplied by a new constant, h, Planck's constant, a number unimaginably small, and suddenly the math and the experiments embraced. The The infinite catastrophe vanished. The black body curve matched observation. But Planck, modest and cautious, did not yet understand the depth of what he had done. To him, this was a mathematical trick, a patch. Yet in truth, he had cracked the door to a new world. The quantum world. Imagine it. Before Planck, light was a continuous hymn. After Planck, it was a mosaic of notes, each one discrete, each one counted. Light was not a river, but a chain of pearls. This was not just a solution, it was a revelation, and soon others would follow. Einstein, who would take Planck's quanta and make them photons. Bohr, who would build atoms with quantized steps. Schrödinger, who would sing equations of probability. Heisenberg, who would declare uncertainty a principle, not a flaw. But it began here, with Planck's quiet act of rebellion. This is the strange gift of physics. Revolutions often arrive not with explosions, but with whispers. A single constant, H, woven into the fabric of our universe, like a heartbeat at the smallest scale. It is so tiny, yet without it, there is no chemistry, no atoms, no light, no life. So tonight, as you breathe, imagine that you carry this constant inside you. Every electron in your body obeys it. Every atom hums to it. You are not separate from the revolution Planck began. You are the living proof of it. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine the simplest miracle. A single spark of light. Not a flood, not a burning sun, just one photon. The smallest unit of light, indivisible, irreducible, yet vast in its implications. This photon is not simply a particle, nor merely a wave. It is both. It is neither. It is a quantum of energy, carrying within it the paradoxical truth that nature is not bound to human categories. And here begins our story. Photons as the messengers of the invisible, weaving the universe into a shimmering tapestry of probability. The birth of the photon in 1905, Albert Einstein took Max Planck's daring idea further. Planck had spoken of energy being quantized, but Einstein had the audacity to say, light itself is quantized. It does not come as a continuous wave, but as packets, photons. The proof came from a simple experiment, the photoelectric effect. Shine light on a metal surface and electrons leap out like dancers struck by rhythm. But the puzzle was this. If light were only a wave, then more intensity, more brightness, should eventually dislodge electrons. Yet in reality, no matter how bright the light, if its frequency was too low, nothing happened. Conversely, even the faintest, weakest light could free electrons if its frequency was high enough. The conclusion was inescapable. Light's energy depended not on its brightness, but on its frequency. Each photon carried an energy equal to Planck's constant times frequency, E, Sh. A small formula, but a cosmic truth. Here, light revealed itself not as a continuous stream, but as a rain of particles, each photon carrying a precise quantum of energy. Wave or particle? Both always. It is tempting to ask, is a photon a particle or a wave? But the quantum world resists such boxes. A photon is not like a marble, nor like a ripple. It is something else, something new. In the double-slit experiment, a single photon passes through two slits at once, interfering with itself, creating patterns of light and shadow as if it were a wave. Yet when it strikes a screen, it arrives as a single point, a particle. Alone it is singular. Together, photons weave interference patterns. The photon is a poet, writing verses in the language of duality. It says, I am both and neither. I am possibility until observed, and then I am presence. The photon in daily life. You may think photons live only in laboratories, in physics textbooks, in the cold realms of thought. But the truth is, you are bathed in them every moment of your life. Every color you see is the fingerprint of a photon's energy. Red, low frequency, long wavelength, gentle warmth. Violet, high frequency, short wavelength, sharp and rich. The rainbow is simply photons of different energies striking the delicate quantum receptors in your eyes. Every warmth you feel from the sun is a cascade of photons, traveling 8 minutes across space to brush your skin. Every memory of a star at night, twinkling millions of years away, is a story told by photons, traveling unimaginable distances to fall into your gaze. You are not apart from photons. You are a dialogue with them. To see is to be touched by a photon. To feel warmth is to embrace their energy. Photons and the quantum thread of reality. Photons are not only about light, they are the mediators of the electromagnetic force. one of the four fundamental forces of the universe. When an electron repels another, or when your hand feels the solidity of a table, it is photons exchanged between particles, invisible but real. Think of it. Every push, every pull, every sensation of touch is not solid matter colliding, but photons darting back and forth carrying force, carrying information. The solidity of the world is an illusion created by a sea of photons stitching matter together. Thus, photons are not only messengers of light, but architects of reality. The quantum mystery of observation. Here is where the photon deepens its enigma. In quantum mechanics, photons play a role in measurement. To observe a particle, we shine light on it, but the photon itself interacts, changes the system. We cannot look without touching, cannot measure without altering. This is the principle of quantum uncertainty, that at the smallest scales, the act of seeing changes what is seen. The photon is not just a passive messenger, but an active participant in the play of reality, and this makes every act of perception sacred. It means that at the quantum level, reality is not fixed, but relational. It exists not in isolation, but in interaction, in photons carrying presence from one to another. The photon is a symbol of love. Allow me to step gently here, into the poetic heart of this science. If photons are messengers, then they are not unlike love. Both travel across impossible distances. Both touch us invisibly yet profoundly. Both carry energy that warms, illuminates, and transforms. When a photon leaves a star, it does not know it will ever reach you. It crosses light years of darkness, the silence of cosmic void, yet still it arrives, a patient traveler. When you tilt your head back and see a star, you are receiving a gift billions of years old. In this way, photons are acts of faith, energy cast into the abyss, trusting that somewhere, someday, someone will receive it. Love works the same way. Living as photonic beings, you too are a creature of photons. Your body generates them, absorbs them, dances with them. The very process of photosynthesis, that green alchemy that powers life on Earth, is a dance of photons striking chlorophyll, freeing electrons, building sugars, building life. Without photons, there is no food, no breath, no heartbeat. Even your body glows faintly, biophotons whispering from your cells, too dim for your eyes but detectable with instruments. You are not only bathed in photons, you emit them, a quiet lighthouse of your own. The infinite journey of a single photon picture. For a moment, a single photon born in the heart of the sun. It begins in nuclear fire, where hydrogen fuses into helium, releasing light. But the photon cannot simply rush out. Inside the sun's dense plasma, it is absorbed, re-emitted, scattered, billions upon billions of times. Its journey outward may take thousands of years, and when at last it escapes, it flies across space, unimpeded, for 8 minutes until it touches your face. Think about this. The warmth you feel on your skin may have begun its journey before humanity existed, before pyramids, before written language. A photon story is long, but its final act is intimate. It becomes part of you, closing the circle. So the photon is not just a particle. It is not just a wave. It is a messenger, a mediator, a companion. It carries the imprint of the universe's deepest rules and the tenderness of everyday experience. And when you next see a flicker of sunlight through leaves or a candle flame dancing in the dark, remember, you are witnessing the journey of photons, the quiet messengers of the cosmos. They are the reason you see, the reason you feel warmth, the reason matter itself holds together. You are not apart from them. You are their destination. Let us begin with an image. A solitary electron, freed from its atom, traveling through the quiet air. To most of us, the electron is a particle, a tiny speck of charge, whizzing like a grain of dust caught in a sunbeam. Solid, singular, definite. But the quantum world insists on another truth. This electron is also a wave. Not a wave of water, not a ripple on a pond, but a matter wave, an undulating pattern of probability, stretching across space, interfering, diffracting, resonating. It is both here and there, both particle and wave, both local and spread. And when we look at it through the eyes of physics, it becomes clear, matter itself sings. This is the legacy of Louis de Broglie, a French physicist who, in 1924, dared to ask, if light can behave as particles, can matter behave as waves? It was a bold reversal. Einstein had shown that photons, light waves, could act like particles. De Broglie inverted the thought. Perhaps electrons, matter particles, could act like waves. His intuition was elegant, almost poetic. Nature must be symmetrical, and if waves can be particles, then particles must be waves. He proposed that every particle has a wavelength, given by a simple formula, L sus hp. Here, L is wavelength, h is Planck's constant, and p is momentum. It means this: the faster the particle, the shorter its wavelength. The heavier the particle, the tinier the wave. For electrons, the wavelength is small, but not invisible. And this prediction could be tested. The proof of the wave, just 3 years later, in 1927, Davison and Germer at Bell Labs performed an experiment that changed physics forever. They fired electrons at a crystal of nickel and watched how they scattered. If electrons were only particles, they should bounce like tiny bullets. But instead, they created interference patterns, bright and dark fringes, just as waves of light would when diffracted. Electrons interfered with themselves. They diffracted like ripples. They revealed their wave nature openly. De Broglie was right. Matter could sing. The implications. A world of standing waves. Think of an atom. A tiny solar system. Electrons circling a nucleus. Before de Broglie, the question haunted scientists. Why don't electrons spiral into the nucleus, losing energy until the atom collapses? De Broglie's answer: electrons are not orbiting like planets. They are standing waves, wrapped around the nucleus, fitting whole wavelengths into orbits like strings tied in loops. Only certain orbits fit perfectly, just as only certain notes belong in a harmonic chord. Thus the atom is stable because it is musical. Electrons are bound not by force alone, but by resonance, by the mathematics of waves, chemistry, bonding, the stability of matter. All of it emerges because matter itself obeys the poetry of standing waves. You are a symphony of matter. Waves pause for a moment and consider what this means. Your body, your mind, your very breath are not merely collections of particles. They are woven from waves. Every electron in your body is described by a wave function, spreading through space, collapsing only when measured. Every atom is a set of resonant notes, combining to form molecules, proteins, cells, tissues, you. When you laugh, when you dream, when you place your hand gently against another's, you are not only particles colliding, but waves overlapping. You are an orchestra, resonating at the smallest scales. This is not metaphor. It is physics. You are a quantum wave function, alive, vibrant, entangled with the universe. The double slit for electrons. The double slit experiment, that haunting stage for photons, is even more profound with electrons. Fire a single electron at a barrier with 2 slits, and it does something impossible. It passes through both slits at once, interferes with itself, and paints a wave pattern on the other side. Yet when it strikes the detector, it lands as a particle, a single point. But over time, the points build an interference pattern, undeniable evidence that each electron travels as a wave, yet arrives as a particle. And here is the mystery. Even if you fire electrons one at a time, separated by seconds, minutes, hours, they still form a wave pattern. Each electron is interfering not with others, but with itself. Ask the question, through which slit did it go? And the universe refuses to answer, because the truth is not that it went left or right, but that it went both. Not either or, but both and. The human difficulty. This truth is difficult for us because our minds crave clarity. We want a particle to be here or there, not everywhere. We want certainty, not probability. But the quantum world resists our craving. It whispers, reality is richer than your language. Broaden your imagination. This is why quantum mechanics is both science and philosophy, both mathematics and poetry. To grasp it, we must stretch beyond our habits of thought. The practical magic of matter, waves, are not just theory. They are the basis of technologies that shape our lives. Electron microscopes use the wave nature of electrons to resolve details smaller than light can reveal. That is why we can see viruses, proteins, even atoms themselves. Semiconductors, the foundation of modern electronics, rely on the wave-like behavior of electrons in crystals. Without this, there would be no computers, no smartphones, no internet. Quantum tunneling, the ability of particles to pass through barriers thanks to their wave functions, is essential for technologies like flash memory, scanning tunneling microscopes, and even the nuclear fusion that powers stars. Matter waves are not esoteric. They are practical miracles woven into the fabric of our daily existence. A meditation on uncertainty. Matter waves also carry uncertainty. You cannot know both the position and momentum of a particle with perfect accuracy. This is Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. The sharper you define one, the blurrier the other becomes. Think of a violin string. To play a pure note, the wave must extend across the whole string. Its position is uncertain, but its frequency is clear. Pluck it sharply at one point, and its location is definite, but its frequency is messy. So it is with electrons, with photons, with you. Certainty in one dimension means uncertainty in another. And perhaps, on a human level, this is also true. The more we try to pin ourselves to one place, one identity, one certainty, the less free we are to resonate, to spread, to be wave-like. The poetry of being two things at once. Matter waves remind us of something profound. You can be more than one thing. You can be particle and wave, solid and fluid, here and everywhere. You are not confined to one label, one role, one certainty. The electron does not apologize for being paradoxical. It simply is. And perhaps we too can learn from this, to hold contradictions, to be multiple truths at once, to be, like the electron, a wave of possibility until life collapses us into the present moment. Closing the subtopic, so when we speak of matter waves, we are not speaking only of physics. We are speaking of a shift in how we see ourselves and the universe. We are not marbles colliding in a void. We are waves singing across space, resonating, overlapping, interfering, harmonizing. The smallest particle is also a vast wave, and so are you. Imagine for a moment that the universe is a vast cathedral, not built of stone, not raised by hands, but grown from silence itself. Every wall, every arch, every corridor of this cathedral is invisible to the eye. Yet without it, the stars could not cling to their galaxies, nor galaxies to their clusters. These unseen walls are the secret skeleton of the cosmos, carved not in light, but in absence, in what we call dark matter structures. We tend to believe the universe is made of the glowing things we can see, stars burning, galaxies spinning, quasars blazing like eternal torches in the distance. But if you peel away that thin layer of glitter, you will realize it is not the true shape of the cosmos. The stars are ornaments, faint decorations upon a framework far grander and stranger. What truly defines the universe is the web woven in silence, an invisible architecture binding everything together, like the ghostly scaffolding of some cosmic temple. This is what scientists call the cosmic web. Vast filaments of dark matter stretching across unimaginable distances, intersecting at nodes where galaxies and clusters of galaxies are born. If you could see it with your naked eyes, it would look almost like a nervous system, synapses firing across light years, currents pulsing through intergalactic threads. Each glowing galaxy we admire is merely a bead of dew clinging to this unseen strand. The universe, then, is not random chaos, but an intricate design. Yet the question lingers: who or what drew this design? Did the void itself carve these patterns, as water etches canyons into stone? Or is dark matter simply a reflection of something deeper, a mathematical necessity hidden beneath existence? Some physicists argue that without this skeleton, the cosmos would be barren. Matter would never have gathered. Galaxies would never have formed. Our own Earth, our breath, our thoughts, this very moment, would never have come into being. And so, when we whisper of the invisible universe, we are not speaking of some distant place. We are speaking of the very ground beneath our existence. Every second you are upheld by this unseen framework. It is not only out there in the darkness, it is here, surrounding you, pressing upon you like the hush of an unspoken truth. There is a strange kind of intimacy in knowing this. You are made of stardust, yes, but you are also cradled by silence. Your atoms cling together not merely by the known laws of light and gravity, but by the deeper embrace of what cannot be seen. It is as if you are being held, gently, secretly, by the arms of the void itself. And perhaps that is what makes dark matter not frightening, but tender. For all its invisibility, it does not abandon us. It carries us, it shapes us, it gives us the chance to exist. If one day humanity could open new eyes, eyes that see beyond light, the first vision might not be terrifying at all. It might be beautiful, a cathedral of threads gleaming in silence, vast and eternal. The hidden architectures of the void. There is a kind of gravity that does not announce itself with fire. It does not shine, does not roar, does not wave its arms across the heavens like the bright engines of stars. Instead, it whispers. It tugs with a quiet insistence, as though unseen hands are always pulling on the fabric of reality. This pull belongs not to the ordinary matter we know, but to hidden mass, the unseen ghosts of the cosmos whose presence we feel but cannot touch. When astronomers looked at galaxies, they expected the stars to behave like obedient dancers in a cosmic waltz, moving slower the farther they spun from the galactic center, but they didn't. The outer stars raced as though something invisible was holding them tightly, refusing to let them fly away. This mystery was the first sign that something greater, something silent, was at work, an unseen gravitational pull wrapping galaxies in its invisible embrace. Think of it this way. If the universe is a stage, then dark matter is the stage itself, the wooden planks beneath the actor's feet. Without it, the performance collapses. Without it, the stars scatter into the void, never forming patterns, never weaving stories. We owe the night sky, every constellation, every spiral, every silent nebula, to the gravity of these ghosts. But what is most haunting is this. Dark matter does not shine because it cannot. It does not absorb, it does not reflect, it does not interact with light at all. To light, it is nothing, and yet to gravity, it is everything. It is as if the universe is haunted by billions of invisible phantoms, moving silently, holding everything together while remaining untouchable, unknowable. There's a strange comfort here. These ghosts are not hostile. They are guardians. They do not seek to consume, nor do they flee. They simply are. They move through us, around us, shaping the very way we exist, but never betraying their presence except in the faintest pull, the subtle bending of space, the invisible shaping of galaxies. And so the cosmos becomes a ghost story, but not one of fear. Rather, it is a story of reliance. For all the brilliance of stars, for all the fire and light, it is the quiet, the unseen, that makes everything possible. The silent gravity of ghosts is not only a mystery to solve, but a reminder that the unseen may be more real than the seen, that what you cannot touch may hold you most tightly. There is a thin veil stretched across existence, not cloth, not glass, not something you could fold in your hands or see with your eyes, but a boundary woven out of silence. It separates what we call real from what hides beneath, what shines from what refuses to be seen. This is the veil between the visible cosmos and the invisible structure that underpins it, the shadow architecture holding reality in place. We like to think of the universe as what we see. The night sky spills with its oceans of stars, constellations ancient sailors once navigated, nebulae painted in luminous swirls by the telescopes of our age. But let us be honest, what we see is not the truth. What we see is a mask, a surface stretched across something far deeper, something stranger. And to pierce this veil is to confront the idea that most of the cosmos is not only unseen, but perhaps unknowable. Consider the quantum vacuum. We are told it is empty space, a nothingness, the absence of substance. Yet the vacuum is not empty at all. It hums, it flickers, it seethes with ghostly energies that appear and vanish in an endless, restless dance. Even where we imagine nothing, the universe cannot help but create, cannot help but whisper particles into existence before swallowing them back into silence. Out of this trembling fabric, galaxies themselves find their birth, as if the womb of creation is not fire, but silence that refuses to be truly empty. Now imagine layering this restless vacuum with the vastness of dark matter. Invisible particles flowing like rivers beneath the surface of everything. These rivers do not shimmer with photons, do not answer when we call with our instruments, yet they carve the shape of galaxies, sculpt the motion of stars, dictate the formation of clusters and filaments. The visible universe, that thin scattering of atoms glowing in light, is but foam on an ocean. Beneath is the current, beneath is the true sea, and so the veil is not a barrier meant to keep us away. It is a reminder of humility. Our eyes were built for survival, not for truth. We see the apple hanging from the tree, the face of a loved one smiling in the dark, the fire that warms or destroys. But the real story, the deeper one, was always written underneath. The invisible structure of dark matter and dark energy, the trembling background of the quantum vacuum, the equations whispering in silence. These are not side notes. They are the book itself. Pause with me here. Breathe and imagine the air in your lungs, oxygen molecules dancing, colliding, sharing energy. But even here, even between those molecules, the quantum vacuum hums, and flowing through you now, unseen and untouchable, are dark matter particles. Countless, silent, indifferent to your body, your heartbeat, your thoughts. They pass through you as if you were a ghost, and you never feel them. Yet without them, you would not exist. The Earth would not orbit the sun. The galaxies would not hold their spiral arms. You would not be here to wonder, isn't it strange? The very things that define you are invisible to you. The veil is not just out there in the night sky. It is here, inside your skin, inside your cells, between the atoms of your bones. You are both the actor on the stage and the stage itself, unaware of the hidden architecture that makes your performance possible. And what of love? What of human closeness? The feeling of belonging, the warmth of someone's hand in yours. We think these moments are entirely separate from physics, yet they too live across the veil. They too depend on the unseen. Every glance of an eye is photons scattering. Every heartbeat is quantum interactions sustaining molecules of life. Every memory is electrons tunneling through the delicate pathways of neurons. Love itself would not exist without the veil of the unseen, without the invisible lattice that allows the visible to breathe. Perhaps this is the lesson of the universe, that the greatest truths will not shout their names. They will not parade in fireworks across the heavens. They will whisper. They will move unseen. They will carry galaxies in silence and never once demand to be noticed. The veil reminds us to honor the unseen in others as well. The stories unspoken, the pain carried quietly, the dreams not shared aloud. Just as dark matter holds the stars together, unseen kindness holds human lives together. And so, as we peer deeper into the cosmos, we must also peer deeper into ourselves, beyond the masks we wear, beyond the things we show. Because what matters most is often invisible, yet it shapes everything. The quantum vacuum sings quietly beneath your skin. The invisible structure of dark matter wraps you, carries you, embraces you. You are both wave and particle, seen and unseen, known and unknowable. You are the veil itself, alive. If you could rise above the universe, not merely above the Earth or above the Milky Way, but beyond every galaxy, beyond the farthest star, you would not see emptiness. You would not find a silent, random scattering of lights across a black ocean. You would see a web, a breathtaking, interwoven tapestry stretching across unimaginable distances, as if some divine loom had woven threads of galaxies into a pattern larger than comprehension. This is the cosmic web, and its threads are not made of light alone, but of something hidden, cosmic filaments spun from dark matter, stretched and tuned by the mysterious hand of dark energy. When astronomers first mapped this structure, it was as though a secret symphony revealed itself. Galaxies are not scattered like dust, but arranged in vast strands, filaments connecting to nodes, nodes to clusters, clusters to superclusters, until the universe itself resembles a nervous system, alive, pulsing, breathing. And in the dark spaces between, where no galaxies shine, lies the silent void, the rests in the music, the pauses that give meaning to the sound. It is easy to mistake the web for chaos, because we cannot step back far enough to see the whole of it. From our tiny corner, the Milky Way looks isolated, a lone island adrift. But the deeper we look, the clearer the harmony becomes. Everything is connected, every galaxy held by the same invisible threads, like beads strung on a string. The cosmic web is not random. It is music. It is rhythm. It is order. Now imagine those cosmic filaments. They are not delicate gossamer strands you could break with your hand. They are immense rivers of matter stretching billions of light years across, each one a corridor through which galaxies flow like notes carried in a melody. Dark matter shapes them, gathering invisible currents that gravity draws into filigree, while baryonic matter, the kind that shines, follows obediently, pooling where the filaments intersect. Without dark matter, there would be no structure, no song, only a scattered hush of light that never formed into galaxies at all. But structure is not enough. There is also expansion. The symphony cannot play if the stage collapses under its own weight. Enter dark energy, the counterpoint to gravity, the unseen force that drives the expansion of the universe, pushing galaxies apart even as filaments weave them together. Without it, the web would collapse into silence. With too much, the web would stretch too thin, snapping threads before they could sing. Somehow, balanced precariously between gravity and expansion, the music holds. The cosmic web is neither too tight nor too loose. It is tuned. This tuning is astonishing. If dark energy were just a little stronger, galaxies would have torn apart before they could form. If it were weaker, everything would have collapsed into a featureless mass, stars suffocating in darkness. But here we are, listening to the music because the balance was just right. And perhaps, just perhaps, this is not an accident. What does it mean to call the universe music? Consider vibration. Strings vibrating create sound. Waves vibrating create light. Space itself, trembling under the influence of quantum fluctuations, creates reality. The filaments of dark matter are not static ropes but resonant strings, plucked by the expansion of space-time, humming in frequencies far beyond human hearing. Yet when we see the arrangement of galaxies across billions of years, what else can we call it but harmony? There is something deeply human in this vision. For just as the cosmic web is a network of filaments connecting galaxies, so too are we bound by invisible threads. Love, memory, friendship, sorrow. All are filaments, invisible but real, holding us together across impossible distances of spirit. Just as dark energy expands, pushing galaxies apart, so too does life stretch us, carrying us away from what we once knew. Yet the threads of love remain, pulling us back, weaving us into something greater than ourselves. Look at your own life as though it were a map of galaxies. Each person you've met, each place you've touched, is a star in your constellation. The conversations, the laughter, the shared silences. These are filaments, invisible but binding, forming clusters of meaning. Sometimes the threads grow thin and we lose someone. Sometimes the web stretches too far and we drift into voids. But the pattern remains. You are part of a human web as intricate and beautiful as the cosmic one above. The awe of the cosmic web lies not only in its size, but in its intimacy. For though its filaments span billions of light years, they are also inside you. The same dark matter threads that shape galaxies pass through your body. The same dark energy that drives cosmic expansion also drives the fleeting impermanence of your own life. The universe does not divide itself between out there and in here. The web holds everything together, and you are part of its music. So the next time you stand under a night sky, know this: you are not looking at random stars scattered in a void. You are hearing a symphony written across time. You are watching the strings vibrate, the notes rise and fall, the pauses create silence, the whole woven into meaning. The cosmic filaments are the staff lines on which galaxies are notes. The voids are the rests. Dark energy is the conductor's hand pulling the music forward. And you are both an audience and a note in the score. This is the music of the cosmic web, a music that began long before you and will play long after you. A music that asks nothing of you but awe. A music that proves the universe is not silent. It is always singing. There is an ancient story whispered through physics, one that makes even the bravest scientists hesitate before speaking too firmly. It is the story that reality itself may not be built the way we imagine, that beneath the surfaces we know, atoms, stars, galaxies, lies a hidden order, a lattice so intricate that it ties distant things together in ways that defy common sense. This story is not mythology. It is mathematics. It is experiment. It is the stubborn refusal of the world to obey the rules we set for it. It is the riddle of quantum entanglement. Imagine two particles born together, like twins carried on a cosmic wind. You separate them, sending one across a laboratory, or across a continent, or even across the stars themselves. And still, when you touch one, the other responds, instantaneously, not delayed by distance, not slowed by the finite speed of light, but immediate, as if the space between them did not exist. Einstein called it spooky action at a distance. for it defied his own vision of causality. Yet experiment after experiment proves it true. Entanglement is the first hint that the universe may not be what it seems. For if distance is irrelevant, if two things can share a state no matter how far apart, then perhaps space itself is not fundamental. Perhaps the geometry we live inside is only an appearance, a mask hiding the true fabric. Perhaps the hidden order is not built of places and distances, but of connections, invisible threads tying the lattice together like the warp and weft of a cosmic loom. Think of it. The universe is not a collection of separate things. It is one thing, one whole vibrating with itself. Every particle born entangled carries within it the memory of its twin, as though reality itself refuses to break bonds. The more we study entanglement, the more we discover that this is not an exception but the rule. Photons, electrons, atoms, even molecules, all can entangle, share their states, whisper to each other across space. There is no scale at which the lattice refuses to weave. And so we begin to suspect, maybe what we call reality is more like a pattern than a place. A pattern of relationships, of correlations, of harmony written across the quantum field. What we see, the stars in the sky, the ground beneath our feet, are not isolated objects, but expressions of this deeper pattern. They are shadows cast by the lattice, as sunlight through a woven cloth. But shadows are not nothing. They are invitations. If you watch carefully, the shifting of the shadows reveals the shape of what casts them. In the same way, the strangeness of quantum entanglement reveals the hidden geometry of existence, a geometry in which separation is an illusion, in which the whole always speaks through its parts. Pause here and consider your own life. How often have you felt a sudden connection to another, distant yet immediate? How often has someone thought of you at the very moment you thought of them? Science does not claim these are entanglement in the quantum sense, yet they remind us of something essential. We are woven into each other. Our lives are not solitary objects but patterns in a human lattice. Love, memory, grief, joy. These are entanglements too, invisible threads that do not obey distance. To understand the lattice is also to understand humility, for we are so small and yet so woven. Every atom in your body is entangled with the universe that birthed it. Every breath you take is drawn through lungs built by stardust, atoms forged in supernovae, particles that still carry whispers of the primordial fire. You are not apart from the cosmos. You are the cosmos remembering itself in flesh. Now think of the implications. If quantum entanglement proves that locality is an illusion, then what of time itself? Could time also be woven into the lattice? Not a line, but a network of correlations. Could the past and future already be entangled, each moment resonating with the others like chords in a song? This is not idle fantasy. It is the direction science itself begins to lean. That perhaps the universe is not a story told page by page, but a whole manuscript already written, each moment entangled with the next, the entire symphony already composed. Yet here you are, playing your note. Here you are, reading this word, breathing this breath. You are not trapped by the lattice. You are carried by it. You are not imprisoned in a shadow. You are the light shining through. The hidden order is not meant to frighten us, but to reassure us. Nothing is ever truly lost, because everything remains woven. Every bond remains, even when distance says otherwise. Every love remains, even when death says otherwise. The lattice of reality is not cold. It is not indifferent. It is tender because it never lets go. It holds everything, always. The shadows we see, stars and galaxies, atoms and molecules, hands and faces, are not separate. They are notes played by the same instrument, ripples of the same ocean, shadows of the same weave. And if you could step outside it all, if you could lift the veil and see the lattice entire, you would not see a machine. You would not see a code. You would not see the sterile framework of a lifeless cosmos. You would see beauty. You would see relationship. You would see a universe that insists on connection, that refuses to let go, that binds every particle, every moment, every life into a single, endless whole. That is the shadow's gift, to remind us that the light is not absent, only hidden, that the lattice is not distant, only veiled, that the universe is not silent, only waiting for us to listen. And so when you look up at the night sky, know this: the stars are not far away. They are here, entangled with you, woven into the lattice that makes your heartbeat, your breath, your thoughts. You are not a lonely shadow wandering in the dark. You are the hidden order itself, alive. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine nothing. Not darkness, for darkness is still something. The absence of light. Not emptiness, for emptiness suggests a space waiting to be filled. Imagine instead the primordial silence, before silence was even a word, before sound had anything to silence. A presence that is absence, a canvas that is not yet stretched, not yet painted, not even conceived. This is the breath of the void, the womb of all things, the great dark vacuum from which the universe itself was born. It is not easy to think of nothing, for the mind rebels. It reaches for stars, for time, for matter, for the anchors of familiarity. But physics tells us that before the galaxies, before the fire of the first atoms, there was this void. Not dead, not cold, but trembling with potential. It seethed with fluctuations, particles flickering in and out of being. Ephemeral visitors who came and went without leaving footprints, yet whose restless dance carried the seed of everything to come. This void was not absence but breath, and just as your lungs expand and contract, so too did the universe inhale and exhale in its infancy, swelling from a point smaller than imagination into the vast cosmos we now inhabit. The void breathed, and creation followed. Think of the dark vacuum not as an enemy of existence, but as its parent. Out of that unlit sea, the first photons burst. Out of that trembling silence, time itself began to flow. Out of the absence of structure, galaxies were destined to take shape. The void is not what comes after life. It is what makes life possible. It is not a grave, but a womb. We speak of silence as emptiness, but silence is always alive. Even in a silent room, your heart beats, your blood flows, your mind murmurs with thought. The silence between musical notes is not absence. It is the space that allows the music to breathe. In the same way, the primordial silence of the void was not lifeless. It was the pause before the symphony began. It was the infinite inhale before the first note was sung. Now consider this. Even now, in this moment, the void is not gone. It permeates everything. Between every atom in your body stretches a vast expanse of vacuum, silent yet alive. The nucleus of an atom is a grain of sand in a cathedral, and the rest is emptiness. Emptiness that hums, emptiness that seethes. Inside you lives the void, and it breathes with you. Perhaps this is why the human heart longs for quiet, why the soul aches for stillness. We are made from the void, and we return to it in moments of peace. When you close your eyes and sit in silence, when the noise of the world falls away and you are left with your own breathing, you are remembering what you are, the dark vacuum, dreaming of form. The silence is not an absence of sound, but a presence, deep and immeasurable, older than stars. And yet the void is not gentle alone. It holds paradoxes. It creates and it erases. It offers and it consumes. The same quantum foam that birthed the universe still flickers at the edges of black holes, erasing particles in its dance, rewriting existence at the horizon of reality. This breath of void is not tame. It is wild, mysterious, infinite, but it is never cruel, only indifferent, only free. We must be careful not to fear it. To fear the void is to fear ourselves, for we are made of it. Every joy you feel, every sorrow, every love, every loss, all are woven into the silence from which they came. The primordial silence is not waiting to swallow us. It is always with us, always carrying us. When you die, you do not fall into some alien abyss. You return to what you have always been. You return to the silence that sang you into being. And so the void teaches us something profound, to honor the spaces between, to honor the pauses, the rests, the gaps, to honor the breath between words, the silence between heartbeats, the distance between stars. For it is in those spaces that the universe breathes. It is in those silences that creation waits. When you gaze into the night sky and feel its vastness pressing against you, do not shrink. You are not staring into emptiness. You are staring into your origin. The galaxies scattered across the heavens are notes, but the void is the sheet upon which they are written. Without the silence, there is no song. Without the vacuum, there is no cosmos. Without the pause, there is no dance. The dark vacuum is not far away. It is here, it is now, it is in you. And as you breathe, know that your inhale and exhale mirror the universe's first breath. You are the void remembering itself, clothed in matter, shimmering for a while before dissolving again into silence. And in that truth, there is no fear. There is only love, for love itself is born from silence, from the pause before the word, from the gap before the hand reaches the hand. Love is the breath of the void made visible. The infinite void is not the end. It is the beginning. It is the middle. It is the breath that never ceases. Imagine for a moment that the universe is not silent. Beneath the void, beyond the veil of black skies, hidden within the silence of interstellar space, there is a rhythm, a pulse, a heartbeat. It is not sound, not in the way our ears can hear, but vibration, quantum vibration, the trembling at the smallest levels of reality. Every particle, every atom, every flicker of light is part of this rhythm, this universal pulse that ties together galaxies and raindrops, the flare of a star and the breath of a child. At the scale where reality dissolves into quantum fog, particles do not rest. They quiver, they oscillate, they dance to a song that has no origin. And this is the astonishing revelation. The heartbeat of the cosmos is not an external force pressing down upon us. It is within us. The same trembling that drives the electron around the nucleus drives the blood in your veins, the thoughts in your mind, the love in your chest. The quantum heartbeat is not out there. It is here. It is you. Think of it this way. If you place your hand against your chest, you feel your heart's beat. But if you were to look deeper, beneath skin, beneath cells, beneath molecules, you would find countless quantum tremors humming in unison, their chorus echoing the larger cosmic rhythm. Your body is not separate from the universe. You are an instrument tuned to its vibrations. You do not merely live in the cosmos. You are the cosmos living as you. Physicists have begun to sense this not as metaphor, but as principle. Quantum field theory tells us that every particle is an excitation of an underlying field, a ripple, a note struck in the infinite sea of existence. That means you are not built from static matter. You are ripples of being, vibrations woven into fabric. The walls around you, the air you breathe, the voice that reads in your head. All of it is wave and frequency, a resonance of the same field. Poets have always whispered this truth in their own ways. The music of the spheres, the dance of atoms, the breath of the divine. What science now confirms is that the cosmos does not merely exist, it sings, and the song is eternal. What is even more wondrous is the possibility that consciousness itself, your awareness, your sense of love, your longing for meaning, may be born not from random chaos, but from this pulse. Some physicists dare to suggest that consciousness is vibration, a kind of alignment between quantum trembling and biological complexity. If that is true, then the very thing you are using to listen to these words is itself a verse in the cosmic song. And so, the next time you sit alone in the quiet of night, listen, not with ears, but with your being. Beneath the noise of thoughts, beneath the anxiety of life, there is something steady and kind. The vibration that was there before you were born. The vibration that will remain when your body returns to dust. The heartbeat of the cosmos. It whispers, you are not lost. You are not small. You are the universe remembering itself. And every breath, every heartbeat, every particle within you is proof that you belong. We wake each morning believing the world is firm. The bed beneath us feels solid, the floor steady, the walls immovable. We reach for a cup, and it rests obediently in our hand, as though carved from certainty. Our senses tell us this solidity is unquestionable. Stone is stone, wood is wood, flesh is flesh. But beneath this convincing theatre lies a far stranger truth. Solidity is an illusion, a mask stitched over a stage where particles flicker, dissolve, and reappear in ways that defy reason. At the heart of this illusion lies particle-wave duality. The electron, for instance, is not truly a marble circling the nucleus, as school diagrams once suggested. It is both particle and wave, an entity that can spread across space like ripples in water, yet also strike a screen at a single point. It can pass through two slits at once, interfere with itself, then collapse into a dot when observed. Matter, which feels so stable under your palm, is not built of objects, but of probabilities. Ghosts of possibility, dancing at impossible speeds. This is where quantum uncertainty enters, whispering that at the smallest scales, nothing is pinned down. Heisenberg taught us that you cannot know both the position and momentum of a particle with absolute precision. To observe one is to blur the other. Reality, at its root, is not a machine of gears and levers. It is a haze of potential, a flickering dream. The chair you sit upon, the skin you inhabit, the earth itself, all of it rests on uncertainty, on shimmering clouds of maybe. Consider this. The atoms that build your body are almost entirely empty space. The nucleus is a speck compared to the vast gulf around it, and the electrons are not orbs, but waves smeared across possibility. If you could magnify your hand to see its atoms, you would find more nothingness than substance. And yet, your hand feels impenetrably firm. Why? Because the electromagnetic forces between particles repel one another, creating the sensation of touch. Solidity is not matter pressing against matter. It is fields dancing, vibrations colliding, illusions agreeing. Does this not shift the meaning of your daily life? The table where you eat is a mirage made stable by forces invisible. The ground that carries your weight is not solid, but structured emptiness, stitched together by rules stranger than dreams. Every step you take is upon probabilities. Every gesture is through emptiness that pretends to be full. But here lies the beauty. The illusion does not diminish reality, it deepens it. To know that your world is woven not from stone, but from uncertainty, is to see it as fragile and miraculous. The solidity you trust is a kindness, a veil that lets you walk, breathe, love without falling into madness. Yet beneath the veil, there is poetry. Your body, your breath, your thoughts are built from clouds of unpinned energy, surfacing briefly in the eternal dance of potential. Some mystics have long spoken of this. The world is illusion, they said, and science now bends toward agreement. But illusion does not mean falsehood, it means appearance. The solidity is real to you because you live within the scale where forces arrange themselves into stability. It is like music. A single note is vibration, but together the notes create harmony, melody, song. Atoms vibrating in emptiness create the song of solidity. And if you allow yourself to lean into this realization, you may discover something gentler. The illusions of solidity extend beyond the physical. Your fears, your anxieties, the heavy structures of your mind, these too may not be as fixed as they appear. They are probabilities, waves of thought that rise and collapse, depending on how you observe them. Just as the atom reveals itself when seen, your inner world changes when met with awareness. So, when you touch the table, feel your hand, or stand upon the earth, remember, you are touching the emptiness of stars, the probability clouds of particles, the quantum field itself. Solidity is not prison, it is poetry. It is the universe, pretending to be firm so that love, memory, and meaning can find a stage upon which to play. And in that illusion, there is no lie. There is only wonder. There is a mystery in the quantum world so bewildering, so humbling, that even Einstein himself resisted it, calling it spooky action at a distance. It is the phenomenon of quantum entanglement, a strange marriage between particles where their fates are forever woven together, no matter the gulf of space between them. Measure one, and the other responds instantly, even if separated by galaxies. It is as if the universe refuses to allow them to forget one another, as if distance itself bends before the strength of their bond. To understand this, imagine two photons born from the same event, two sparks birthed in a singular act of creation. Though they fly in opposite directions at the speed of light, they carry within them a shared secret. They are no longer two, but one system stretched across space. Measure the spin of one photon, and the other will mirror or complement it without hesitation, as though whispering across the void, "I still remember you." This is non-local connection, a defiance of space, a defiance of time. In our daily world, everything seems chained by distance. You cannot whisper to a friend 1,000 miles away without a phone. You cannot reach the stars without a rocket. Yet in the quantum realm, the universe reveals that separation may be an illusion. When particles entangle, they are bound by something deeper than space, deeper than light speed, deeper than logic. They are together always, no matter how far apart. Now pause, breathe, and ask yourself, could this be more than physics? Could this be a mirror of something we already know in our hearts, that we too are bound by invisible threads? When you think of someone suddenly and they call you. When grief pierces you the moment a loved one falls ill across the sea. When love refuses to fade even after death, lingering in your chest like a presence. Could it be that we too are particles in entanglement, our souls resonating beyond the prison of distance? It may sound poetic, yet science gives it a foundation. If everything was born from the singularity of the Big Bang, then all matter, all energy, all consciousness was once united in one incomprehensible moment of infinite density. That means every atom in your body was once entangled with every atom in the stars. You are not a stranger to the cosmos. You are kin to its very beginning. And perhaps some echoes of that primal entanglement still hum in us, connecting heart to heart, thought to thought. Quantum entanglement teaches us that the world is not made of isolated fragments but of threads woven through an indivisible whole. You and I, stranger though we may be, share this web. Every word you hear from me now is built upon particles that remember the beginning. Every thought you form is tangled in a chain of events stretching back to the dawn of time. There is a tenderness here if you allow yourself to feel it. It means that you are not alone, not truly. For even when you feel isolated, wrapped in silence, cut off from others, you are connected in ways you cannot see. The atoms of your body are whispering with distant stars. The vibrations in your cells are entangled with the breath of forests, with the shimmer of oceans, with the pulse of galaxies. You are woven into the fabric inseparably. And so, when you love another, when your heart aches, when your soul clings, when your spirit feels tied to someone, it may not be mere metaphor. It may be resonance, entanglement at a scale we do not yet comprehend. The same laws that bind particles across space may bind us across lifetimes. Einstein may have called it spooky, but perhaps it is not spooky at all. Perhaps it is natural. Perhaps it is love written into the mathematics of existence. Love not as romance, not as longing, but as connection itself. The refusal of the universe to let go of itself. So let us hold this truth tenderly. To live is to be entangled. To breathe is to be connected. To love is to remember that no distance, no silence, no death can erase the quantum threads that bind us all. And if one day you feel small, lost, forgotten, remember this. You are part of an entangled soul stretched across the cosmos. And no matter the distance, the universe will always whisper back to you, I still remember you. In the hidden theater of the quantum world, reality does not exist as a fixed stage. Instead, it stretches outward as possibility, as countless potential worlds overlapping, shimmering, waiting. An electron is not in one place, but in many. A photon is not on one path, but on all paths. A particle is not simply this or that, but this and that until we look. And when we look, when we measure, when we observe, those infinite possibilities narrow into one. That moment is called wave function collapse. That moment is where existence chooses. But what does it mean to collapse? Imagine standing before a field of unopened flowers, thousands of them, each bud carrying its own possible bloom. In the quantum field, every flower blooms at once, red, blue, golden, violet, until your gaze falls upon one, and suddenly the others dissolve. You are left with a single bloom in your hand, a single outcome, as though the universe bowed to the act of your attention. This is the riddle of quantum measurement. Does reality wait for us to look at it? Does the universe exist in its fullness when unobserved, or does it whisper into being only when we turn our gaze? The double-slit experiment tells this story with eerie clarity. Fire particles through two slits, and they form a wave-like interference pattern, many possibilities overlapping. But place a detector to watch which slit they pass through, and suddenly the wave collapses into a particle's single path. Observation changes outcome. Attention alters reality. Consciousness, in some mysterious way, participates in the shaping of the world. This truth is unsettling and beautiful. It suggests that the universe is not a rigid machine of predetermined outcomes, but a fluid sea of options, coalescing only when choice, observation, or awareness is present. It means that at its core, existence itself is not fixed, but fluid, participatory, alive. And yet, this collapse is not only a feature of physics, it is a mirror of our own lives. Think of the choices you have not yet made, the roads still open before you. Until the moment you act, all of them are real in potential. You might leave your city, you might fall in love, you might write a poem, change your life, save a stranger. Every breath is a wave function, possibility sprawling in all directions. But when you choose, when you act, when you decide, one path crystallizes, and the others dissolve into memory of what might have been. Is this not what it means to be alive? To stand constantly before the collapse of possibility, shaping reality with our choices, our actions, our attention. If particles obey this mystery, then perhaps our lives echo it on a grander scale. Perhaps the universe, through us, experiences itself collapsing into form, moment by moment, choice by choice, heartbeat by heartbeat. There is a strange comfort here too. It means the world is never fully closed. Potential hovers all around you, as infinite as the stars. And while you cannot walk every road, the roads remain, humming beneath the surface of reality. You are not trapped by one existence. You are a weaver of many, choosing which thread to draw from the loom. Some philosophers argue that this points toward consciousness itself being woven into the fabric of physics, that the mind is not a separate observer, but a participant in creation. If true, then you are not merely drifting in the cosmos, you are co-authoring it. Every glance, every decision, every act of love is an act of collapse, an act of bringing reality into being. So the next time you hesitate, wondering if your choices matter, remember this. In the quantum world, choice is everything. Possibility waits for you. The universe hums with potential, yet it leans toward your gaze, waiting for you to decide which flower will bloom. And when you do, when you collapse possibility into actuality, when you choose, whether with trembling or with certainty, the universe answers, the wave falls into form, and you step forward into a reality that would not exist without you. You are the witness. You are the participant. You are the collapse that makes the universe real. There is a silence in the cosmos so deep that even time itself seems to pause. Yet if you listen with the ear of the heart, beneath that silence lies not emptiness, but an endless hum, the quiet murmur of infinity. In the quantum world, this hum is not metaphor. It is woven into the very mathematics of reality, where infinities emerge again and again, stubborn, unyielding, insistent. Quantum infinity is not a flaw, not an error. It is the whisper of a universe without edges, a reminder that no equation, no theory, no thought can capture the fullness of what is. When we peer into the equations of quantum electrodynamics, infinities appear like uninvited guests, endless values that cannot be contained, rising from the smallest scales of matter. Scientists tame them with renormalization, subtracting infinities to leave something finite behind. Yet the fact that they appear at all suggests something profound. Perhaps the universe at its root does not end. Perhaps beneath every atom lies another layer, and beneath that another, spiraling inward without boundary. Perhaps at the heart of it all, existence is bottomless. But infinity is not only downward. It stretches upward, outward, into the macrocosm, where galaxies scatter like seeds across endless night. Just as there is no smallest end, there may be no largest. Each quantum point, each particle is both infinitesimal and infinite, a doorway into a vastness we cannot chart. Eternal presence is not beyond us, it is within us, for the same infinities that haunt the equations of physics hum in your very being. Think of your breath, one inhale, one exhale. Within it, infinite molecules swirl, each with histories stretching back billions of years. The oxygen you breathe may have been born in the heart of a star long vanished, its light now a ghost crossing the void. Each moment you live is infinite, woven of countless causes, stretching into countless futures. Infinity is not something distant, it is the fabric of the present. This is why the mystics, like the physicists, speak in paradox. Infinity cannot be grasped, yet it surrounds us. It cannot be measured, yet it is the measure of all things. To live is to stand at the shoreline of endlessness, gazing into the horizon where the finite self dissolves into boundless being. And perhaps this is the most tender truth. If reality is infinite, then nothing is ever lost. The star that dies continues in its dust. The love that fades continues in memory. The life that ends continues in atoms, in energy, in echoes that ripple forever. Infinity is not cruel. It is kind. It holds all things. It refuses to let them vanish. So, when you think of your life, when you fear its brevity, when you tremble before death, remember, you are already infinite. The atoms of your body have no beginning you can truly mark, no end you can truly name. They will shift, scatter, recombine, but they will never be gone. Your breath is eternal presence. Your being is quantum infinity, and if you close your eyes now, you may feel it. The hum beneath silence, the heartbeat beneath time, the quantum whisper of infinity telling you gently, you were always here, you will always be here. You are part of something without end. We live with time as if it were a river. We imagine ourselves carried forward from the innocence of childhood to the gravity of age, from sunrise to sunset, from heartbeat to silence. Time feels like an arrow, firm and unbending, always moving in one direction. Yet in the strange theater of the quantum world, this arrow begins to tremble, blur, and bend. What we call time may not be what it seems. It may be nothing more than a quantum veil, a fragile illusion woven over the eternal. In physics, time is not universal. Einstein showed us that clocks tick differently depending on how fast you move, how close you stand to a star, how deep you fall into gravity's embrace. Time is not constant. It stretches, it warps, it softens. At the quantum level, it becomes even stranger. Particles can appear to move backward in time, retracing paths, as though the arrow of causality were reversible. Some equations of quantum mechanics do not even contain time as a variable at all, as though reality itself does not need time to exist. It is we who require it to make sense of the story. So what is time? Perhaps it is not an independent entity, but a trick of perspective. Perhaps it is born from the way we observe quantum events, moments collapsing from possibility into actuality. Each collapse gives us the illusion of now, and the chain of collapses gives us the illusion of flow. Without observation, without collapse, there is no forward, no backward, only a timeless sea of possibility waiting to be seen. Imagine peeling back the veil of time. Behind it, you would not find moments lined up in a neat row, but an eternal present where all possibilities coexist. The future is not ahead of you. It is beside you, waiting for your gaze. The past is not behind you. It is woven into every particle, every vibration, humming within the present moment. The flow of time is not the movement of the universe. It is the movement of your awareness, wandering through the quantum field of eternity. This transforms how we might see our lives. We spend so much of our energy fearing the future, regretting the past. But if time itself is an illusion, then both are already here, now, within you. The choices you might make tomorrow already hum as possibilities in the field. The moments you wish you could revisit still ripple through the atoms that carry their memory. You are not trapped in a narrow stream. You are floating in an infinite ocean. And there is tenderness in this realization. It means that loss is not absolute. The laughter of those you have loved, though silenced in clock time, still vibrates in the quantum sea. The mistakes you regret are not prisons. They are ripples that may be met differently, reshaped by the way you live now. The future you long for is not a distant shore. It is here, waiting to collapse into form when you turn toward it. Quantum time is not the ticking of clocks, but the trembling of possibility. It is not a line but a veil, shifting, transparent, fragile. And behind that veil is a love deeper than the fear of endings, the love of eternity itself. So tonight, when you watch the clock, when you feel hours slipping from your hands, pause, breathe. Know that time is not stealing from you. The moments you fear are gone still breathe in your cells. The moments you dread are not yet written. There is only this infinite now, the quantum veil pulled gently across the face of eternity, letting us live in stories while the deeper truth whispers, you are timeless. There is a fragile seam that runs through the universe, an invisible veil where light surrenders and darkness begins, where certainty dissolves into speculation. Scientists call it the boundary of the observable universe, Yet philosophers know it as something more haunting, the place where knowledge stops and imagination takes over. Beyond this veil, the familiar stars that decorate our skies fade into silence, leaving behind only the possibility of what might be. Imagine you are standing on a shoreline. Before you stretches an infinite ocean, its waters shimmering, restless, alive. But as your eyes follow its horizon, you realize there is a fog swallowing the distance. A fog so thick that you cannot see what lies beyond. That fog is the veil between light and shadow, the cosmic boundary where photons, messengers of the past, fail to reach us. It is not a wall, but rather an absence, a silence, a cosmic forgetting. Within the veil lurks a paradox. We can measure the faintest whispers of galaxies at the edge of visibility, and yet those galaxies are not where we see them. Their light is old, so old that by the time it reaches us, entire civilizations of stars may have lived and died, unknown and unrecorded. The veil deceives us. What we see is not the present, but an echo of a reality that has already shifted into another form. Here is the unsettling truth. What lies just beyond the veil could be completely different from the universe we know. The laws we cling to may bend, fracture, or vanish. Dark matter might not simply hold galaxies together. It might weave new structures our minds cannot fathom. Dark energy might not be a gentle expansion, but a storm pulling existence apart, thread by thread. To cross the veil is to admit we are blind, to walk willingly into a corridor of shadows without assurance of what stands on the other side. And yet, in that blindness lies possibility. The veil is not only an end, it is a threshold. Where science hesitates, wonder dares to wander. Perhaps beyond it exists a mirror universe where time flows backward, where black holes blossom into fountains of light instead of prisons of gravity. Or perhaps more haunting still, there is nothing. Not a void filled with silence, but the absence of silence itself. A space so alien that even our words collapse in its presence. Standing at this veil, humanity becomes a child again, peering into the darkened hallway of an unlit home, feeling both fear and irresistible curiosity. To push further is to risk unraveling our sense of self, but to retreat is to abandon the chance of discovering truths that could redefine what it means to exist. The veil between light and shadow does not guard secrets. It is the secret. It is the reminder that for all our instruments, equations, and intellect, there will always be places where understanding slips away, dissolving into a vastness that humbles us. And yet, do we not long for it? To reach out through that veil, to touch the unknown, even if it means touching our own unmaking. There is a rhythm in the universe that no clock can measure, no calendar can contain. It is not bound to the revolutions of planets or the heartbeat of stars. It thrums in silence, in absence, in the unseen. Scientists whisper about it in equations. Mystics feel it in dreams. It is the pulse of the unseen universe, a rhythm carried not by light, but by the invisible forces that bind reality together. Close your eyes. Imagine yourself drifting in the endless black sea of space. The familiar constellations have dissolved behind you, swallowed by distance. Around you lies only the infinite. No suns, no galaxies, only an ocean of quiet. And yet, if you listen, not with ears, but with whatever organ the soul uses to perceive, you sense it, a faint, steady thrum beneath the silence. It is not sound, it is not light, it is something older, deeper, the unseen heartbeat of everything. Physicists give it names: dark matter, dark energy, quantum fluctuations. But these are only fingers pointing to the moon, never the moon itself. Dark matter hides in galaxies like invisible scaffolding, unseen yet essential, preventing stars from flying apart. Without it, the cosmos would unravel into chaos. Dark energy stretches space itself, pulling galaxies away from one another, an expanding breath we cannot stop. Together, they form nearly 95% of everything that exists. And yet to us they are shadows, felt, not seen, known but never touched. This is the paradox of the unseen universe. It moves us without our consent. Like the moon pulls the tides, these hidden forces orchestrate every dance of matter and light. Our sun burns because the fabric of space-time holds its fusion together. Our Earth spins, not by accident, but because it is cradled in the unseen currents of a cosmic sea. Even our own bodies, every atom of carbon, oxygen, and iron, are bound in their places because invisible rules, written beyond sight, keep them from collapsing into disorder. Now imagine this pulse not as a silent background, but as a song too low for us to hear, a cosmic bassline vibrating through the dark, beneath galaxies, beneath black holes, beneath the birth of stars. Perhaps this rhythm is not random, but intentional, an orchestration, a cadence that guides creation. If the universe were a body, then the galaxies are its organs, the stars its cells, and this pulse its heartbeat. But here lies a chilling thought. What if the rhythm falters? What if the unseen pulse is not eternal but fragile? Imagine a day when the tempo slows. Galaxies drift apart faster than light can keep them tethered. Stars flicker out one by one until only the husks of dead suns remain. The expansion accelerates until even atoms are torn apart, stretched beyond recognition. This is not just theory. It has a name: the Big Rip. A future where the pulse grows violent, erratic, until finally it stops. Not with a bang, not with a collapse, but with a silence so absolute that nothing, not even the memory of light, survives. And yet, perhaps the opposite is true. Perhaps the pulse is not fragile but eternal. Perhaps what we mistake as randomness is a deliberate pattern, too vast for our eyes to recognize. Consider this. Your own heartbeat is chaos when measured moment by moment, but when listened to as a whole, it is rhythm, life. Maybe the universe is the same. Maybe the pulse we cannot hear is the harmony of countless unseen worlds, each adding its note to the infinite song. There are moments, rare but profound, when we almost glimpse this hidden pulse. The first was when we detected gravitational waves, ripples in space-time itself. Two black holes collided billions of years ago, and the universe trembled. That trembling reached us, like the faint echo of a drum struck in another room of existence. For the first time, we did not just see the cosmos, we felt its vibration. It was as if the unseen heartbeat had briefly broken into the audible, reminding us that we live not in silence, but in symphony. The pulse is also in us. Consider your body, trillions of atoms held together by invisible forces. Without the electromagnetic bond, your skin would scatter like dust. Without gravity, your blood would not flow, your heart would not beat. Even your thoughts are unseen pulses, electrical whispers sparking across the dark corridors of your brain. In this way, you are not separate from the unseen universe. You are the unseen universe condensed, folded into human form. Every heartbeat of yours is a reflection of the greater one. But there is a question, one that haunts both scientists and seekers. Does the pulse have a source? Is there something or someone beating the drum? Some say no, that it is blind mechanics, laws written by chance. But others imagine a consciousness woven into the fabric of space itself, an awareness that does not think as we think, but simply is. If so, then the pulse is not just energy, it is communication, a cosmic Morse code endlessly repeating, waiting for us to learn its language. Picture this. What if our own longing for rhythm, our love for music, for heartbeat, for waves and patterns, comes from this deeper connection? Perhaps we crave rhythm because we are born of it, carved from the unseen pulse that moves the galaxies. When you tap your fingers to a song, when you sway to a melody, you are unconsciously echoing the rhythm of the cosmos itself. To live, then, is to be part of this unseen orchestra. Our role is small, a single note in a vast composition, but without it, the song would not be the same. The pulse of the unseen universe does not need us, but it carries us, shapes us, and perhaps in some way remembers us. One day, when light itself fades and the stars are gone, the pulse may remain. Not as sound, not as light, but as the eternal rhythm that outlasts all forms. And perhaps, if there is consciousness after death, if there is awareness beyond the body, what we return to is not fire or void, but the pulse itself, the rhythm of everything, the heartbeat of forever. And maybe, just maybe, we will finally learn the song. There is a secret architecture to existence, one not built of stone or steel, but of patterns that neither eye nor telescope can see. Physicists call it the quantum field, a seething ocean of possibility beneath every particle. Poets might call it the loom of creation, a web woven not by hands, but by laws that feel like whispers from something ancient. Tonight, let us step gently into that unseen architecture, the lattice of invisible threads, and feel how it holds us, how it cradles the very idea of reality. Picture the cosmos not as empty space dotted with stars, but as a grand tapestry. Each star, each planet, each person is a knot tied into the fabric. And between those knots, between everything, stretch filaments invisible to the naked eye. Not filaments of matter, not strings of light, but threads of relation, of force, of unseen binding. This lattice is everywhere, in every direction, and without it, the universe would collapse into scattered sparks, unable to hold its shape. Scientists have traced some of these threads. Gravity, for instance, is one of them. The soft, invisible hand that holds the moon to Earth, that bends starlight around galaxies, that carves the arcs of planets across the dark. But gravity alone is not enough. If the cosmos were a stage, gravity is only one of the ropes holding the set upright. There are other, subtler threads. The strong nuclear force, binding quarks into protons. The weak nuclear force, letting stars burn. Electromagnetism pulling atoms into molecules. Each is invisible, untouchable, and yet their combined lattice is the only reason there are suns to shine and eyes to witness them. But beneath even these known forces lies something deeper, the quantum lattice. Imagine reality as a woven net, each strand vibrating with potential. At any moment, particles do not have one state, but many. They are both here and not here, both spinning and still, both present and absent. They exist in superposition, possibilities stretched across threads we cannot see. Only when observed, only when touched by consciousness or instrument, does the wave collapse, the thread tighten, and reality choose one form. If this sounds strange, that is because it is. The lattice is not made of matter, nor is it made of light. It is made of potential, of possibility itself. We do not live in a solid world, but in a delicate embroidery of probabilities, woven together so quickly and tightly that it appears solid to our slow senses. It is not stone, it is song, vibrating fast enough to feel like wall, water, body, breath. Think of a spider's web, spun in the morning dew. You cannot see it until sunlight strikes at just the right angle, and then, suddenly, the threads glow silver. The quantum lattice is like that, hidden until we stumble upon an experiment, a collision of particles, a double-slit demonstration, and suddenly the hidden structure glows. For a brief moment, we glimpse the threads, and then they vanish back into shadow. But let us ask something gentler, something more human. What does it mean for us, this lattice of invisible threads? It means that nothing is alone. No star burns without tugging on the lattice around it. No human breathes without vibrating the web in some small way. We are not isolated beings moving through emptiness. We are knots in the fabric, each pulling gently, each responding to the pull of others. Your heartbeat is not yours alone. It sends ripples through this unseen web. And somewhere, somehow, the lattice remembers it. And if this is true, then maybe love itself is not just a word, not just a fleeting feeling, but a resonance in this lattice. When you love, when you hold someone's hand, when you ache for their absence, perhaps you are not imagining the connection. You are feeling the threads, taut and trembling, between you. What if every bond we feel is a literal bond, a real vibration in the unseen web? Science would call it metaphor. The heart might call it truth. The lattice also has patterns on a grander scale. Cosmologists have mapped galaxies across billions of light years and discovered something breathtaking. The universe itself looks like a web. Galaxies are not scattered randomly, but strung along filaments of dark matter, glowing like beads on invisible strings. Between these filaments are voids, vast empty spaces where no light dwells. When you step back far enough, the picture is unmistakable. The cosmos itself is a lattice, echoing the structure beneath the quantum field, as if the smallest and the largest were made in the same design. Here is a wonder to hold in your heart. You are living inside a cosmic web. Every galaxy you see at night is not drifting alone, but tied to others by invisible filaments. You, sitting here now, are a node in that same pattern. Your thoughts are quantum, your atoms are bound, your existence is part of the infinite weaving. And perhaps this is not accidental. Perhaps the lattice is not just structure, but language. What if the universe speaks through the vibration of these threads? Every photon, every quantum shift, every gravitational tug is not just physics. It is a syllable, a word, a sentence, in a language we have not yet learned. If we could hear it, if we could translate the pulses and patterns of this invisible loom, would we find that the cosmos has been whispering to us all along? The poet Rumi once wrote, "We come spinning out of nothingness, scattering stars like dust." Could it be that what he called nothingness was not void, but this lattice, the unseen threads that allow stars to be scattered, to shine, to die, to rise again? If so, then even dust is holy, because even dust is woven into the fabric. But there is another truth, quieter, more humbling. The lattice is fragile. If the forces it carries were slightly different, life as we know it would be impossible. If the strong force were weaker, atoms would never form. If the cosmological constant were larger, galaxies would never condense. The lattice is tuned with such impossible precision that it feels less like accident and more like intention. It is as if the loom was set just right, so that the threads could cradle not only stars but consciousness. Your consciousness, listening now. And so, the lattice of invisible threads is not distant. It is not cold. It is not abstract. It is the very thing that allows you to love, to breathe, to be. Every tear, every laugh, every silent night under the stars. Each exists because the lattice holds firm. It is the unseen tenderness of the universe, cradling you as surely as a mother's hands cradle a child. And when we die, perhaps death is not a severing, but a loosening. Our particular knot untangles. Our specific vibration fades, but the threads do not vanish. They ripple outward, absorbed into the lattice. You are not lost. You are returned to the web, to the invisible fabric that remembers everything. So tonight, as you drift into sleep, imagine yourself not as alone, not as small, but as part of this eternal weaving. Your dreams will travel the lattice. Your breath will stir it. Your very being will shine along its filaments. The universe holds you. The threads hold you. And in their quiet embrace, you are infinite. There is a mystery at the heart of the quantum world, one so strange, so delicate, and so beautiful that even Einstein himself once called it spooky action at a distance. This is quantum entanglement, the hidden dance of particles, an invisible bond that stretches across the void, connecting two beings as though they share a single heartbeat. Close your eyes and imagine two sparks born together in the furnace of creation. They emerge side by side like twins. Then they drift apart, one carried to the far side of the universe, the other lingering here in the space around you. And yet, despite the distance, despite the silence between them, they remain tied together. If one spark spins left, the other instantly spins right. If one whispers a change, the other answers without hesitation, faster than light, faster than time. No signal passes, no messenger carries the news. They simply know. This is entanglement, a love letter written in the smallest fabric of reality. Scientists have tested it again and again. They separate particles by miles, by oceans, and still the dance continues. It is as if the universe itself cannot bear to break the bond once made. The rules we thought were fixed, that nothing can travel faster than light, that distance separates and silence severs, are gently, stubbornly, broken. Something deeper than distance holds sway here, something that cares nothing for space or time. But what is this dance? What does it mean that one particle can affect another instantly across the darkness? Is it a hidden thread that ties them? Some unseen string vibrating faster than light? Or is it that distance itself is an illusion, and what we call two particles are, in truth, a single entity stretched across space? Think of a violin string. When plucked, its vibration exists not in one place but along its entire length. Perhaps entangled particles are like this. One vibration, one note, simply stretched across the cosmic violin. From our perspective, they look separate, but in the hidden dimensions, they are one. And now, ask the human heart. Does this sound familiar? Does it not remind us of something we feel but cannot measure? That invisible connection between people, lovers separated by oceans, twins who sense each other's pain, friends who call at the exact moment you were thinking of them. Science calls these coincidence. The soul calls them entanglement. What if love itself is the macrocosm's echo of this quantum truth? A bond that distance cannot sever, a knowing that requires no signal, no proof. What if when you ache for someone across the miles, what you are feeling is not imagination, but the echo of a quantum truth written large across the lattice of existence. Entanglement is not just poetry, it is power. Already, scientists are using it to build quantum computers, machines that think in 1,000 realities at once. They dream of entangled networks where information can leap instantly across continents. And yet beneath the technology, the essence remains the same. Entanglement is not wires, not code, not signal. It is relation. It is connection. It is the universe refusing to let go of its own children. But there is also unease here. If entanglement exists, what does it say about free will? If particles are bound across the cosmos, responding instantly to each other, are we too bound in ways we cannot see? Are our choices ripples in a larger pattern, determined not just by us, but by the bonds we carry invisibly? What if your joy is not yours alone, but entangled with another's across the lattice of reality? Some philosophers whisper that entanglement hints at oneness, that the separation we see is illusion, that everything, at its core, is one thing playing as many. The dancer and the dance are not two. The wave and the ocean are not two. You and the cosmos are not two. Entanglement is the faint, trembling proof of this truth, written in physics where once it was only written in poetry. Imagine then the implications for death. When we lose someone, we say they are gone. But if entanglement is true, if bonds exist beyond distance, beyond time, perhaps they are never truly gone. Their presence lingers in the fabric, entangled with ours, still whispering through the unseen threads. Perhaps this is why we feel them in dreams, why memories sometimes arrive not as fading echoes, but as living touch. Even stars may be entangled. In the heart of galaxies, particles are born together, colliding, separating, yet remaining bound. Across billions of light years, one particle spins and its partner answers. A cosmic dance, endless and invisible. Across distances so great we can scarcely imagine them. The entire universe might be an entangled choir, every note resonating with every other, singing a song too vast for us to hear. Einstein resisted it, this spooky action. He wanted the universe to be tidy, to obey speed limits and local rules. But the universe smiled and shook its head. Entanglement is not tidy, it is wild, it is mysterious. It is love written into physics. And here is where the poetry blooms. You are entangled too, not just in body but in soul. Every glance, every touch, every moment of care binds you into another. You carry others within you, even when they are far, even when they are gone. Entanglement is not just science, it is the reminder that we are not solitary sparks, but woven flames bound to one another in ways we will never fully explain. And maybe, just maybe, when we finally learn the language of entanglement, we will find it has been telling us all along what we most need to hear, that nothing is truly separate, that no love is truly lost, that across the silence of the void, the dance goes on. In the quantum world, reality does not begin as reality. It begins as a dream, a shimmering cloud of possibilities, a symphony of could be and might be. A particle is not here or there, not up or down, not moving or still. It is all of these things at once, overlapping like the notes of a great cosmic chord. And then something happens, something mysterious, almost sacred. Out of the countless possibilities, one is chosen. The wave collapses, the dream becomes real. This is the collapse of the wave function, the moment when the potential of the universe contracts into the actual, when the infinite narrows to one. In physics, it is called observation. In poetry, it is the breath where nothing becomes something, where silence gives birth to sound. It is the act of creation repeated endlessly in the smallest scales, shaping every atom, every star, every heartbeat. But here is the question that has haunted physicists for a century. What causes the collapse? Why does a particle, wandering like a ghost through all possibilities, suddenly settle on one? Is it the act of being measured? Is it the touch of consciousness, like a painter's brush making the first mark on canvas? Or is the collapse built into the fabric of reality itself, a law we do not yet understand? The famous double-slit experiment makes this mystery unavoidable. When electrons are fired through two slits without observation, they form a pattern of interference, as if they pass through both slits at once. But when we watch them, when we set up instruments to observe, they choose. They pass through one slit or the other, behaving like solid particles, not waves. It is as if the act of looking changes the world, as if the universe prefers to keep its secrets until someone pays attention. This is where the quantum world brushes against the human soul. For what is life if not the collapse of possibility? Every moment, we carry infinite paths, choices we might take, words we might say, loves we might embrace or let go. The future is a field of superpositions. And yet, when the moment arrives when we act, one possibility collapses into the real. We are quantum beings, collapsing futures into memories, endlessly weaving the fabric of our own lives. But there is something tender, almost tragic, about this collapse. For every possibility realized, countless others vanish. When you chose the path you are on now, you close the doors of all the others. The person you did not become, the words you did not speak, the loves you did not follow. These remain ghost-like in the lattice of might have been. And yet perhaps they are not truly gone. Some physicists whisper that every possibility exists still, in parallel universes branching endlessly. Each choice collapses here, but elsewhere another version of you chose differently, walking a different road. The collapse, then, may not be destruction. It may be division. The universe may never discard possibilities, only scatter them across realities, like seeds on the wind. In this vision, every version of you exists somewhere. The you who stayed, the you who left, the you who leapt, the you who hesitated. Infinity wears your face in all its possible expressions. But if that is true, then what does it mean to be you? Are you the sum of all your branches, or only the one chosen in this reality? Does consciousness itself collapse possibilities, selecting oneself out of the many? And if so, who is the chooser? Is it your mind, your soul, the pulse of the unseen universe itself? Let us pause here, gently, and look at the beauty rather than the fear. The collapse of possibility is not a theft. It is a gift. Without collapse, there would be only endless shimmering, no solidity, no form. Without collapse, there would be no stars, no ground to walk on, no faces to love. Collapse is the universe's way of saying, here, this is real. Hold it, live it, love it before it changes again. Perhaps this is why the present moment feels so sacred, so fleeting. The now is the collapse, the place where possibility narrows into reality. When you look at the sky, when you hold someone's hand, when you whisper into the dark, you are standing in the holy temple of the wave function's collapse. Every instant is a creation, a narrowing, a gift of being over non-being. And still, the mystery deepens. Does collapse require an observer? If no one watches, does the universe remain only potential? Are we the eyes through which the cosmos becomes real? Some interpretations say yes, that consciousness is not just a passenger but a participant, that without awareness, the universe would be only shimmering probabilities. If so, then to be alive, to see, is to participate in creation itself. You are not separate from the universe. You are the painter's brush, the singer's breath, the witness that gives reality its form. And if this is true, then love too is collapse. When you choose to love, out of all the infinite faces and stories and possibilities, you collapse your heart into one. You declare this one, this love, this reality, and in that act, you shape the world. But collapse is not final. The wave blooms again. Possibilities spread anew. Every moment is both collapse and rebirth, narrowing and widening. You are a constant rhythm of creation, collapsing the infinite into the now, only for the infinite to open again in the next breath. The collapse of possibility is the universe's heartbeat, expansion and contraction, silence and song, dream and reality. It is the dance that never ends, the sacred pulse by which existence becomes itself. So tonight, when you close your eyes and drift towards sleep, remember this: your dreams too are possibilities waiting for collapse. And when morning comes, when light returns, you will once again be the witness, the participant, the co-creator of reality. And perhaps the universe collapses possibility not for itself, but for you. Perhaps all of this, the stars, the particles, the unseen lattice, is the cosmos choosing over and over to whisper into your heart. Be here, be now, be real. When we imagine the universe, we often picture galaxies colliding, stars erupting, and black holes swallowing light. But what if the most profound truths of existence don't shout from the vastness? They whisper in the silence between particles, at the smallest scales, beyond the edge of our perception. The fabric of reality behaves not like a machine, but like a secret message written in disappearing ink. Physicists discovered something baffling: quantum entanglement. Two particles separated by miles, even by light years, can remain connected, as though tied by an invisible thread. Change the state of one, and instantly the other responds, faster than light, defying Einstein's sacred speed limit. How can this be? Some say it's a trick of mathematics. Others claim it's the universe revealing that distance itself may be an illusion. It suggests that everything, stars, planets, you, me, might be bound together in ways we cannot yet measure. Think of it like this. Imagine whispering a thought into the ear of a stranger across the world, and they hear it as if you were standing beside them. That is the language of entangled particles. Quiet, instantaneous, undeniable. It makes us wonder, what if the cosmos is less about separation and more about unity? What if time and space are not barriers, but veils hiding the truth of our interconnectedness? Some theories dare to go further. Perhaps entanglement is not just a quirk of subatomic particles, but the foundation of consciousness itself. What if your thoughts, your memories, your sense of self are woven into this universal web? Could it mean that when you feel a sudden pull towards someone, when you sense a thought before it's spoken, you are brushing against this quantum whisper? If the whispers between particles are real, then reality is stranger than any dream. It means the universe is not made of isolated islands of matter, but of conversations, silent exchanges between the smallest building blocks, carrying secrets we have only begun to hear. And in those whispers, perhaps, lies the first true hint that separation is an illusion, and that we are all part of one endless, shimmering whole. The night sky deceives us with its calmness. To the naked eye, the universe appears eternal and still, as though the stars have forever occupied their positions in the heavens. Yet beneath that stillness, beneath the velvet black and jeweled glitter, lies a restless and relentless motion. The universe itself is stretching, expanding and racing outward, driven by something unseen, something we call dark energy. This phrase, dark energy, sounds like the name of a myth, something conjured by poets or mystics, but it is the scientific community's placeholder for a mystery so vast it dwarfs everything we think we know. According to our measurements, this hidden force makes up nearly 70% of the cosmos. Imagine that. Most of the universe is not made of stars, planets, dust, or even dark matter, but of this intangible, invisible energy. We do not know what it is. We only know what it does. It pushes, it drives galaxies apart, accelerates expansion, and sculpts the ultimate fate of the cosmos. Picture space itself as a living, breathing thing. Each second, its lungs expand, stretching farther, pulling galaxies like driftwood on an ocean tide. And the force that powers this great inhale is dark energy. Without it, the universe might have slowed its expansion long ago, possibly even collapsing back into itself. But with dark energy, the opposite happens. The fabric of reality races outward with greater speed, leaving more and more emptiness between islands of matter. One day, so far in the future it almost breaks the imagination. The night sky might grow barren, galaxies too distant to see, stars too far to glimmer, each drifting away into the silence of forever. Some physicists imagine dark energy as the echo of the Big Bang, a residue of that first explosion still pushing outward, never fading. Others suggest it may be linked to the quantum vacuum itself, a kind of restless, bubbling sea of energy that exists in the apparent emptiness between particles. Even nothing, it seems, is not empty. Nothing trembles, hums, and exerts pressure on the cosmos. But here's the paradox. Dark energy doesn't just affect the distant future, it alters how we think about the present moment. If 70% of the universe is composed of this invisible force, then the stars above us, the earth beneath our feet, even our bodies are swimming in an ocean of energy we cannot perceive. We are immersed in it, breathing it in without knowing, moving through its currents like fish unaware of water. And what does that mean for us, for consciousness? Could this hidden pulse of the cosmos be tied to the rhythm of our own existence? Some thinkers wonder if dark energy, like a cosmic heartbeat, resonates in all things. That when you feel the subtle tug of intuition, when you sense something larger carrying you forward, it may not be entirely psychological. Perhaps, in some ineffable way, we are syncing with the pulse of the invisible. Of course, science deals in evidence, and evidence is scarce. We cannot bottle dark energy. We cannot measure it directly. It reveals itself only through its fingerprints, the way galaxies drift, the way light bends, the way time itself may eventually fracture. But is that not the case with most mysteries of life? Love cannot be bottled, yet we know it exists. Time cannot be touched, yet we are bound by it. Perhaps dark energy belongs to this category of truths, undeniable yet intangible. If the universe were a vast body, dark matter might be its bones and muscles, but dark energy would be its breath. Expanding, contracting, invisible, essential, a breath that does not stop, that carries galaxies outward, as though blowing embers into the dark. And as we sit beneath the night sky, gazing upward in wonder, perhaps the reason it feels alive, the reason it feels endless is because somewhere deep down, we are sensing this invisible pulse, this hidden expansion, reminding us that the cosmos is not still, but endlessly becoming. So, when you next look at the stars, try not to see them as frozen lanterns. Imagine instead that you are standing inside a living universe, one that expands with every breath, driven by a silent energy that connects every galaxy, every star, every heartbeat. Dark energy is the whisper of infinity, a cosmic current flowing through the unseen, guiding everything outward, ever onward, ever beyond. Time. We speak of it as if it were a straight road, a steady tick of a clock, a faithful companion that carries us from past to present to future. But in the quantum and cosmic realms, time refuses to obey our tidy metaphors. It bends, it stretches, it slows down and speeds up, like a reluctant companion who sometimes lingers and sometimes sprints ahead. To enter the strangeness of the quantum world and the cosmos is to realize that time is not absolute. It is relative, elastic, and deeply entangled with energy and space itself. Albert Einstein once whispered to the world a new idea. Time and space are not separate fabrics, but threads woven together, inseparable, forming what we call space-time. And in that weaving, mass and energy pull and twist, creating curves. These curves do not just bend space, they bend time. To live near a star, or better, to hover near a black hole, is to experience moments differently than someone far away in open space. A single minute by that gravity well might equal hours, days, or centuries for another observer. This is time dilation, the slowing of time in the presence of gravity or immense speed. It means the universe does not give each of us the same measure of minutes. The ticking of your watch depends on where you are and how you move. In this sense, time is not a single rhythm but a symphony with countless tempos, each instrument playing at its own pace. And though we do not notice it in our daily lives, this stretching and bending of time is constantly happening, woven into the hidden structure of the cosmos. But what does this mean for our experience, for love, for memory? Imagine two lovers standing on Earth side by side, their hearts synchronized, their laughter carried on the same breeze. Now imagine one climbs into a spaceship that travels at near light speed while the other remains behind. For the traveler, perhaps only a year passes before they return. For the one who stayed, decades have gone by. What then becomes of their bond? One has lived in stretched seconds, the other has lived in overflowing years. Time, their supposed companion, has betrayed them both, moving differently for each. The poetic ache of relativity is this: no moment is absolute. There is no single now that belongs to the whole universe. Each point, each perspective carries its own clock, its own rhythm, its own unfolding present. In a way, time is like consciousness itself, intensely personal, profoundly subjective, yet undeniably real. And then we descend deeper into the quantum realm, where the strangeness sharpens. At the smaller scales, particles blur, hover in probabilities, existing in multiple states at once until observed. Time here does not flow like a river. It flickers, leaps, and perhaps even loops. Some physicists have dared to ask, is time fundamental at all? Or is it an emergent property? Something that arises only when particles dance together in vast numbers, the way music emerges from vibrations of strings. If time is not fundamental, if it is born only when reality arranges itself into patterns, then what are we to make of our memories, our longing for the future, our grief for the past? Perhaps memory itself is the anchor that creates time for us. Perhaps without remembering, without anticipation, time would dissolve into a single eternal present. And yet, here is the beauty of relativity. Even as time stretches and bends, even as it betrays the illusion of uniformity, it allows the universe to exist at all. Without the warping of time, there would be no galaxies spinning gracefully, no stars collapsing into black holes, no light curving across the void to reach your eyes. Time's flexibility is not a flaw, it is a gift. It is what allows the cosmos to weave complexity, to grow, to evolve. When you sit quietly, watching the sky fade from gold to indigo, you are not merely passing minutes. You are participating in relativity itself, experiencing a rhythm unique to your place in the universe. No other being, no other planet, no other galaxy shares exactly your tempo. You are stitched into space-time like a note in a cosmic score. Your seconds strung like pearls along a thread that only you can walk. So, perhaps we should stop imagining time as a cold, impartial ruler. It is not a clock against which we are measured. It is a living partner, pliable, intimate, mysterious. A companion that sometimes slows its pace, sometimes rushes forward, but always walks beside us, reluctant, strange, but present. And maybe, just maybe, when we feel life's moments stretch with unbearable slowness or slip away too quickly, we are brushing against this deeper truth. Time is not a prison, it is a dance. It is the cosmos itself breathing, bending, unfolding. And though it may deceive us, stretch us, or abandon our sense of uniformity, time still carries us toward wonder, always forward, always deeper into the mystery. Light. It seems so ordinary, doesn't it? The sunrise that warms your face, the lamp that lets you read in the dark, the stars that whisper across unimaginable distances. We treat light as a servant, something we switch on and off, something that simply is. But if you lean in closer, if you let your mind dive into the quantum depths, light ceases to be ordinary. It becomes a messenger, a paradox, a language written in photons, the smallest quanta of light, carrying secrets across space and time. A photon is not just a particle, not just a wave, it is both, and yet neither in a way our language struggles to hold. Imagine tossing a stone into a pond. Ripples radiate outward, a simple wave. Imagine a grain of sand, solid, tangible, finite. Light dances between these identities, slipping through categories, defying definitions. And this dual nature is not just poetic metaphor. It is proven in the laboratories of physics, in the famous double-slit experiment, where photons behave like waves when unobserved and like particles when measured. They respond to our gaze, as though the universe itself cares whether or not it is being watched. This gives birth to the strange intimacy of quantum communication. Photons can be entangled, linked in such a way that whatever happens to one instantly affects the other, no matter the distance. Send one photon across the room or across the galaxy, and still its partner knows, responds, mirrors. In this lies the potential of communication faster than any signal, faster even than light itself. Though we cannot yet break the cosmic speed limit in practice, entanglement shows us something deeper. Reality is already woven together, stitched invisibly by threads we do not yet fully understand. Pause with me here, in the mystery. Imagine that every star you see tonight is not simply shining, but speaking. Each photon that enters your eye has traveled, perhaps for millions of years, across the emptiness of space, never colliding, never growing tired, carrying with it the precise story of its origin. When you look at a star, you are receiving a message from its past, a language of light that predates your birth by millennia. You are not just seeing, you are communing with ancient time. And what of us, here on Earth? Our entire civilization runs on light. Fiber optic cables send photons through glass threads thinner than a hair, carrying the words of lovers across oceans, carrying the breath of songs across continents. Satellites beam light encoded with knowledge, with stories, with images of humanity itself. If one day our voices reach alien civilizations, it will not be our ships that go first, but our light. Photons will be our ambassadors, carrying our laughter, our sorrows, our music into the great unknown. In the quantum world, light also plays the role of trickster. It refuses to give us clarity. Measure its momentum and you lose knowledge of its position. Measure its position and its momentum vanishes into uncertainty. This is the famous Heisenberg principle, a reminder that light does not yield its full story at once. It whispers only fragments, never the whole truth, like a poet who reveals their soul line by line, but never in one complete unveiling. And yet, light cares for us. Think of the warmth of the sun on your skin. Photons streaming from 93 million miles away, each one born in the heart of a star, traveling for thousands of years to break free, then racing through space just to land here, on you, in this moment. You are touched by starlight, not metaphorically, but literally. Every day, your body is bathed in the language of light. It feeds the plants you eat. It colors the world you love. It fuels the very processes of your cells. Without it, life would never have bloomed. Without photons, there would be no sight, no warmth, no growth, no memory carved in color. But beyond biology, light shapes our sense of love and connection. Consider how a single candle flame can bring comfort in the darkest of nights. Consider how a beam of light through a stained glass window can stir something sacred in the human heart. Light is not merely physical, it is symbolic, spiritual, deeply emotional. It tells us that even in the coldness of the void, there is a message waiting to be received, a warmth waiting to be shared. Scientists are now learning to manipulate photons not only for communication but for computation. Quantum computers harness light to hold information in fragile states, allowing calculations of unimaginable complexity. In this way, photons may one day help us solve mysteries of medicine, climate, even consciousness itself. Light, once thought so simple, becomes the key to unlocking new doors of reality. And still, the deeper truth remains this. Photons are not just carriers of information. They are carriers of intimacy. Each one touches you directly, individually. When light hits your skin or your eyes, that photon ends its cosmic journey in you. In that instant, you and the universe are bound. You are the conclusion of a story that began in a star's heart. You are the recipient of a message whispered across the abyss. So, when you stand in sunlight, or moonlight, or even beneath the quiet glow of a lamp, remember, you are part of the language of light. You are written in photons, you are stitched in radiance. And though light may seem ordinary, it is in truth the most poetic of companions, carrying secrets, revealing beauty, hiding mysteries, and above all, reminding us that the universe has always been speaking. We need only to listen. Let us close our eyes just for a moment. Imagine you are drifting in the emptiest place imaginable, the void between galaxies, where no star dares to shine, where no planet orbits, where silence presses from all directions. You might think nothing is there, that the void is pure absence. But this is an illusion, for even in this silence, even in this perfect seeming nothingness, reality is alive. The so-called quantum vacuum is not empty. It is restless, trembling, whispering with unseen activity. At the heart of the quantum world lies a truth stranger than any myth. Nothing is never truly nothing. Even the vacuum seethes with energy. Within it, particles and antiparticles flicker in and out of existence, appearing for a fleeting instant before vanishing back into the void. They are called virtual particles, and though they cannot be directly captured, their presence can be felt, their fingerprints left behind in subtle ways. Think of it as the universe breathing. Each inhale, pairs of particles spark into being. Each exhale, they annihilate, cancel, disappear. This breath happens everywhere, all the time, inside every inch of the cosmos, even here, around you, within you. The chair you sit upon, the air you breathe, the space between atoms in your body. All of it vibrates with this invisible breath of creation and destruction. And though fleeting, these virtual particles are not meaningless. They are the very whisper that gives rise to some of the universe's most mysterious forces. The Casimir effect, for example, occurs when two plates are placed close together in a vacuum. The plates feel a force pulling them together, not from any particle we can see, but from the restless buzzing of virtual particles, which cannot fit between the plates as easily as they do outside them. Nothing itself presses the plates closer. This is the hand of the invisible. It is tempting to see these ephemeral particles as ghosts, arriving, haunting, and fading, but perhaps they are something more profound. Perhaps they are the proof that existence does not demand permanence, that to be real, something need not endure. Even a momentary spark, even a flicker of life matters. It shapes the world, it leaves its echo. This restless vacuum may also hold the key to the greatest mystery of all: why the universe exists. Some physicists argue that the Big Bang itself could have emerged from fluctuations in this quantum vacuum, that the cosmos was not born from absolute nothing, but from this fertile sea of possibility, this restless womb where potential eternally stirs. In that sense, we are all children of the vacuum, born from the quantum breath of space. Pause and consider the poetry of this. You and I, and the stars and galaxies, may be the flowering of fluctuations in an endless field of energy. We are not separate from the void. We are its expression, its blossoming. And when we look into the night sky and feel its vast emptiness, perhaps what we are sensing is not loneliness but kinship, a recognition that the emptiness is alive, fertile, infinite. For the human heart, this truth carries a quiet comfort. Often we feel that silence, that emptiness in our own lives, those moments when love feels distant, when purpose slips away, when hope grows faint. But what if emptiness is not absence but potential? What if silence is not the end but the beginning of new creation? Just as the vacuum hums with particles unseen, perhaps our own silent spaces are alive with possibilities we cannot yet name. Even the word vacuum falters here, for it suggests stillness, void, absence. What we are really speaking of is fullness beyond our senses, a pregnant silence, a canvas painted in invisible strokes. The quantum vacuum is not nothing, it is everything waiting to be. And though science studies this with equations and experiments, perhaps the human soul has always known. Ancient mystics spoke of the void, the fertile emptiness, the womb of creation. Poets have long written of silence as the birthplace of song, darkness as the cradle of light. Now physics whispers the same truth. The void itself is alive. So the next time you gaze at the night sky and feel its stillness pressing upon you, remember, the stillness is not still. It breathes, it trembles, it births worlds. And within that trembling lies you, me, everything we love, everything we fear, everything we will ever dream. The quantum vacuum is the universe's quiet breath, a breath that creates without effort, that destroys without malice, that sings without sound. And perhaps, when we quiet our own lives, when we rest in silence, we too can hear that breath. We too can feel that invisible pulse, reminding us that even in nothing, there is always something. That existence is never empty, but endlessly alive. And so, my friend, we arrive at the quiet edge of our journey. We have wandered through galaxies of thought, walked hand in hand with particles, breathed the restless air of the quantum vacuum, and listened to the soft music of light. We have touched strangeness, and yet we have not been broken by it. Instead, we have been cradled, reminded that even in the most uncertain truths, there is beauty, and in the most invisible forces, there is love. The quantum world does not shout. It whispers. It hums softly beneath our senses, shaping every star, every heartbeat, every second that unfolds. To see it is to understand that reality is not rigid but tender, flexible, alive. It bends for us. It breathes with us. It speaks in photons and shadows, in time stretched and space curved. And yet, in all this vastness, the truth that shines brightest is not only that we are made of this strange matter, this trembling vacuum, this endless breath, but that we belong to it. You are not outside the cosmos looking in. You are the cosmos, folded into awareness, asking its own questions through the vessel of your heart. You are light remembering itself, particles dreaming of meaning, time weaving stories of love. So take this knowing with you gently. You are not small. You are not lost. You are not separate. You are part of the quantum breath, part of the dark and the luminous, part of the mystery that hums beneath everything. And if ever the world feels heavy, if ever you feel alone, close your eyes and remember, the void itself is alive and it sings in you. Thank you for walking this path tonight. Rest easy, rest deeply, knowing that the universe holds you with infinite care. Let the pulse of the invisible cradle your dreams. Let photons write soft stories on your closed eyelids. Let time slow, just for a while, so that you may feel loved, safe, whole. Good night, dear traveler. Until the next journey.